Imagine for a moment that you are sitting at the edge of your life, looking forward, always waiting for something, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right sign that finally tells you, now it's happening. We live in a culture that teaches us to wait for healing, to wait for love, to wait for the moment when our dreams will finally arrive at our doorstep. And maybe right now you feel like your life is in that waiting room, somewhere between where you are and where you want to be. But what if I told you that the waiting is the illusion? What if I told you that the very future you're longing for, the version of you who is already abundant, already healed, already confident, already living the life you dream of, that self isn't in the distance, waiting years away. That self already exists. Right now. This might sound radical, even unbelievable, because we've been conditioned to believe that time is a straight line. We think first I must work hard, and then one day I'll arrive. But in truth, that straight line is just a story we've inherited, a story that keeps us chained to the idea that change is always far away. Today I want to invite you to step outside that story, because the secret I'm about to share with you will change not just how you see time, but how you see yourself. And when you understand this, when you truly embody it, you'll realize that you don't need to chase the future, you only need to align with it. Think about the times in your life when you've had déjà vu, those strange moments when you felt like you'd lived something before, or maybe you've had dreams that later unfolded in real life. These are not accidents. These are glimpses, little cracks in the illusion of linear time, reminders that your past, present, and future are not as separate as you've been taught. And here's the paradox. While your mind insists on time as a sequence of steps, your soul knows better. Your soul knows that all versions of you exist simultaneously. The self who doubts, the self who waits, the self who fears, and the self who has already become everything you're longing for. This video is not just about theory, it is an invitation. Over the next hour, we will unravel the illusion of time. We will explore why your future self is already real, and most importantly, we will learn how to step into alignment with that version of you, so that your life can begin to shift now, not years from now. I want you to imagine something. Close your eyes and picture the version of yourself who already has the life you desire.
Where do they live?
How do they feel when they wake up in the morning? What do they wear? How do they walk? How do they speak? Notice the details, because that version of you is not separate. They are not on the other side of time. They are here, breathing in the same field of possibilities that you are. The only difference is alignment. The difference is whether you identify with the old self, trapped in waiting, fear, and limitation, or whether you begin to embody the self who already exists in wholeness. And as we move forward together, I want you to hold on to this question. What if nothing was missing? What if I was already there? When seekers of transformation hear the phrase, time isn't real, it can feel abstract, even mystical. But the truth is, this understanding is deeply practical, because the moment you stop seeing your dreams as distant and start living as though they are here, you dissolve the greatest obstacle between you and your desired reality, the illusion of separation. Think of it like this: your desired reality isn't waiting to be built, it is waiting to be noticed. The future you long for is like a radio frequency. It's already broadcasting right now, but most of us are tuned to the wrong station, trapped in the static of our doubts and fears. The shift happens when you retune, when you realize you don't have to create the future, you only need to align with it. So in this journey, we will travel through 3 layers of understanding. First, we will peel back the illusion of time itself, why the linear model is flawed, and how spiritual traditions, quantum science, and even your own life experiences point to a deeper truth. Then, we will step into the realization that your desired self already exists. You'll discover how to access them, how to think their thoughts, feel their emotions, and align with their energy. Finally, we'll build a bridge, a way to cross from the old self, weighed down by waiting, into the new self, fully alive in the now. This isn't about bypassing effort or pretending challenges don't exist. It's about awakening to the profound reality that your transformation doesn't require that requires alignment. So as you listen, let yourself soften, let your heart be open, because what you're about to learn is not just information, it is remembrance. a remembrance of who you already are, and the infinite realities that are already yours. Take a deep breath. Exhale, and let's step together into the truth. Time isn't real, and your future is already here. Picture. We have been taught from the earliest days of our lives that time is linear. We are told that the past is behind us, the present is happening now, and the future lies ahead somewhere in the distance. Our entire worldview is built on this straight line, as though we are passengers traveling on a train track that moves only forward, never backward, never sideways. But what if this isn't true? What if time, as you know it, is not a fixed reality but a perception, something your mind creates to give shape to experience? Think about it. When you sleep and dream, entire lifetimes can unfold in minutes. You might wake up after a short nap feeling as though you have lived through days, conversations, even journeys. Where was the clock in that dream? Where was the linear progression of minutes and hours? It did not exist, yet the experience felt real. This shows us that time is not the ultimate truth, but a lens through which your consciousness organizes reality. And this lens is incredibly convincing. The ticking of clocks, the turning of calendars, the gray hairs that appear over years, all of it seems to confirm that time moves in one direction. Yet even modern physics tells us another story. In quantum theory, past, present, and future can exist simultaneously. Reality does not unfold in one neat line, it exists as a field of probabilities, all happening at once. Imagine frames of a film strip. You see only one frame at a time, but all frames already exist on the reel. Your awareness is the projector, moving frame by frame, making it appear as though the story unfolds. This is why so many spiritual traditions teach that time is an illusion. The yogis of ancient India, the mystics of the Middle East, and even modern spiritual teachers remind us that what we call past and future are only mental constructs. The only thing that truly exists is the eternal now. Yet within this now, infinite versions of you coexist, each one living out a different reality, a different choice, a different destiny. Here is where contrast becomes powerful, because when you are unaware of the illusion of time, you fall into the trap of waiting. You tell yourself, when I finish school, then I'll be happy. When I find love, then I'll be whole. When I earn more money, then I'll feel secure. And so life becomes a waiting game, a perpetual distance between you and fulfillment. This is the old self, the self chained to the illusion of time. But once you glimpse the truth, you begin to understand that the distance never really existed. The new self, the awakened self, recognizes that the only thing separating you from your desired reality is your alignment with it, not the ticking of years. Think of a river. From one angle, it looks like the water is flowing from upstream to downstream, as though time itself is carrying it along. But if you rise above and see the river from above, you realize the entire river exists all at once. The source and the mouth are already there simultaneously. It is only the perspective from within the current that makes it appear like a journey. In the same way, your life feels like a sequence of steps, but from the higher perspective of consciousness, your past, present, and future already exist in one grand field. Another metaphor, a book. When you read a novel, you experience one page at a time, in sequence, but all the pages already exist, bound together. The ending already exists while you are still at the beginning. You could, if you wanted, flip to the final chapter right now. In the same way, your future self is already written. You are simply reading one page at a time, believing that the story is being created as you go. But the truth is, it's already there. This shift in perspective is more than intellectual, it is emotional liberation. Because once you realize time is not holding your dreams hostage, you stop waiting. You stop believing you are incomplete until something arrives. Instead, you begin to tune your awareness to the version of yourself that already exists in the frequency of what you desire. And here is where many seekers stumble. They say, if my future self already exists, why do I not see it right now? Why does my current reality look the same? The answer is that your focus is still locked onto the old self, the old frequency. Imagine a radio dial. Infinite stations are broadcasting right now. Jazz, rock, classical, news. But the only one you hear is the one you are tuned to. If you want to experience a different reality, you must shift the dial. The station you desire is already here. It is not being built in the future. You only need to align with it. This is why great teachers emphasize the present moment, because the present is not a stepping stone to the future, it is the access point to all realities. Every potential self exists now, waiting for you to tune in. When you realize this, the grip of fear begins to loosen. You no longer need to ask, when will it happen? Instead you ask, which self am I aligning with now? And this is the essence of why time is an illusion. It convinces you that you are separate from you, that you must wait and strive endlessly. But the deeper truth is that all possibilities already exist within the eternal now. The choice is not about waiting for the future to arrive. The choice is about who you decide to be in this moment. So as we continue this journey, allow yourself to gently release the grip of the clock. Recognize that the straight line of time is only a story, a useful map for organizing daily life, but not the deeper truth of your existence. Beneath it, within the vastness of consciousness, all of yourselves are alive, breathing, existing right now. And when you understand this, you unlock the door to stepping into your desire. Not tomorrow, not next year, but here in this moment. Take a moment and imagine the version of yourself you most long to become. Maybe it's the version who wakes up every morning feeling light, free, and purposeful. Maybe it's the self who no longer doubts, who carries confidence with every step, who speaks clearly, who attracts love, who moves through life with ease and abundance. That version of you isn't far away. They are not waiting on the other side of years of struggle. That version already exists, right here, right now. This can feel like a strange idea at first. Our minds are trained to believe we must earn our way into becoming that person. We think, when I achieve this, then I will be worthy. When I solve these problems, then I can relax. When I change enough, then I can finally be the person I dream of. But the truth is, this way of thinking keeps you locked in the identity of the old self, the self that believes the future is always out of reach. The deeper truth is that the future you is not waiting for you to build them. They are already alive, already breathing, already existing on a different frequency of reality. Think of it like a mirror. When you stand before a mirror, your reflection already exists the moment you appear. You don't have to create it. It is instantaneous. In the same way, when you think about your desired self, you are glimpsing a reflection of a version that already exists. The work is not to create that self, but to align with them. To step into their reflection until you recognize that you and they are the same being. The most powerful way to do this is through embodiment. Embodiment means living now as though you are already that self, not pretending, not forcing, but allowing. If the future you is confident, how would they speak in this moment? If they are abundant, how would they think about opportunities today? If they are free from fear, how would they breathe right now? Every small choice you make is either affirming the old self or aligning with the new. And here's where contrast helps you see clearly. The old self waits. The old self doubts. The old self tells stories like, I am not ready yet, I need more time, I need more proof. The new self does not wait because they are already living. The new self breathes easily, chooses with confidence, and moves as though their reality is already here. The difference is not in how many years separate them, but in which energy you decide to embody. This is why visualization is so powerful. Close your eyes and picture yourself already living as that future version. Imagine waking up in their home, walking through their morning routine, speaking their words, feeling their emotions. The more vividly you imagine, the more your brain begins to wire itself into that state. Your subconscious does not distinguish between something vividly imagined and something physically experienced. Which means, every time you embody your future self in thought and feeling, you are collapsing the illusion of distance. But embodiment is not only about imagination, it is about action. If your future self prioritizes health, how can you take even one small action today that reflects that? If your future self is financially abundant, how can you make a decision today from a place of trust rather than fear? Each choice becomes a declaration. I am no longer waiting. I am already living. Now many people resist this idea because they say, but my current reality does not match. I can't pretend I am abundant when my bank account is empty. I can't act confident when I feel insecure. But here is the secret, you are not pretending. You are aligning. Your reality is a mirror. It reflects back to you the identity you hold most strongly. If you keep affirming the old self, the mirror will keep showing you lack, doubt, and waiting. But when you begin to embody the new self consistently, the mirror has no choice but to adjust. Reality bends to identity. Think of actors who step into a role so deeply that they begin to live and breathe as the character. In their minds and bodies, they are no longer separate. They have tuned their frequency to another version of being, and the world responds. This is what you are doing when you embody your future self. You are stepping into the role of the you that already exists until the performance becomes reality, not because you are faking it, but because you are remembering it. There is another way to see this. Imagine walking into a vast library. Every possible version of your life is written in a book on those shelves. The you who struggled endlessly is there. The you who found peace and abundance is there. The you who discovered deep love is there. Which book you open, which story you read, is determined by your focus. When you align with your future self, you are choosing a book that already exists. You are not creating it. You are turning the page to it. This is why small shifts matter. You don't need to change everything overnight. You only need to begin aligning in little ways, moment by moment. Each breath, each choice, each thought is a stepping stone into the frequency of your future self. Over time, these small alignments compound, and suddenly you realize you are no longer waiting. You are already living it. But let's be honest, this path also stirs resistance. Your old self will whisper, "This is not real. You're just imagining. Who are you to believe you can be that version?" These doubts are echoes of the old timeline trying to hold on. When they arise, you don't need to fight them. Simply notice them, smile gently, and say, "Thank you for reminding me who I no longer am." Then return to alignment. And with each return, you strengthen the signal of your new reality. You begin to feel it more naturally, as though slipping into clothes that fit perfectly. The old self starts to fade, not because you forced it away, but because you stopped feeding it your attention. This is the beauty of realizing you are already living the future self. You stop striving, stop waiting, stop holding your joy hostage until some distant moment arrives. Instead, you begin to live today as though you already are the person you long to be. And that, paradoxically, is what allows reality to shift around you. The journey is not about becoming someone else. It is about remembering who you already are. The desired self is not far away, not hidden, not unreachable. They are right here, breathing alongside you, waiting for you to align, waiting for you to choose them. And the moment you do, life begins to rearrange itself, not because time has carried you forward, but because you stepped into the truth that all selves exist now. So as you carry this awareness, ask yourself in each moment, what would my future self choose right now? How would they breathe? How would they speak? How would they feel? And then live that choice. Each time you do, you are collapsing the illusion of separation and awakening to the profound truth: you are not becoming, you already are. When you first glimpse the truth that your future self already exists, it feels liberating, almost intoxicating. But then something happens. You wake up the next morning, look around, and everything still looks the same. The bills are still on the table. The doubts still whisper in your mind. The mirror still reflects the face you know so well. And you wonder if the future is already here. Why do I still feel trapped in the old version of me? This is where the bridge becomes essential, because the journey is not about snapping your fingers and erasing the old self. It is about crossing a bridge from the identity that is rooted in fear, waiting, and lack into the identity that is rooted in trust, alignment, and wholeness. This bridge is not built of time. It is built of choice. The old self wants you to believe in separation. It tells you you're not ready yet. You have too much to fix. Life is against you. You'll always be stuck here. This voice feels familiar, almost comforting in its predictability, because you've carried it for so long. But familiarity does not mean truth. The new self speaks with a different tone. You are ready. You are whole. You are already enough. The challenge is that this voice often begins as a whisper, while the old self shouts. Building the bridge means learning to trust the whisper until it grows louder than the noise. One way to do this is to bring awareness to the contrasts you live every day. Notice the moments when the old self shows up. Maybe it's when you look at your bank account and feel fear. Maybe it's when you walk into a room and shrink back, doubting your worth. In those moments, instead of collapsing into the old story, pause. Ask yourself, what would my new self choose right now? The question is simple, but it is a portal. It pulls you out of automatic fear and into conscious alignment. And alignment does not mean perfection. It does not mean pretending you never feel doubt again. It means choosing differently even while the fear is present. Imagine standing on a bridge with fog all around you. The old shore is still visible behind you. The new shore is hidden in the mist. Every step you take is an act of faith. You don't need to see the end of the bridge, you only need to keep walking. Each choice becomes one more step, one more declaration. I am no longer waiting. I am already crossing. This is where daily practices become sacred, because the bridge is built through repetition, through showing up again and again as the new self, until it becomes natural. You can begin with small rituals, speaking affirmations in the mirror, journaling as though you are already your future self, closing your eyes and feeling the emotions of already living that life. These may seem small, but they rewire your subconscious. They train your nervous system to recognize the new reality as safe, as normal, as real. Resistance will come. The old self will try to pull you back. It might manifest as procrastination, self-sabotage, or waves of doubt. Instead of fighting the resistance, notice it with compassion. Resistance is not proof that you are failing. It is proof that you are shifting. The old self is simply uncomfortable, because it knows it is fading. When fear arises, you can smile softly and say, "Thank you for reminding me of the old timeline, but I choose differently now." And here is the paradox of the bridge. The more you act as though you are already the new self, the faster reality rearranges around you. Life begins to mirror your identity. Opportunities appear. Relationships shift. Synchronicities unfold. It is not that you forced these things into existence. It is that you aligned with the version of yourself for whom they are already natural. Imagine walking through a door. On one side is the self who waits endlessly. On the other side is the self who is already whole. The door is unlocked, but you must choose to walk through it. Every thought, every word, every action is a hand on the doorknob. The more consistently you choose alignment, the easier it becomes to cross fully. Another way to build the bridge is through language. Pay attention to how you speak. The old self says, "One day I will be." The new self says, "I already am." The old self says, "I hope it works out." The new self says, "I trust that it already is." Words carry energy. Each time you shift your language, you shift your frequency. You stop reinforcing the old story and begin strengthening the new one. This process requires patience with yourself, because the temptation will always be to measure progress with your eyes. You will want to see immediate proof, but the bridge is not crossed by demanding evidence. It is crossed by faith. Faith is the fuel that carries you through the fog, long before the new landscape comes into view. And when the proof does appear, it feels almost magical. But it is not magic. It is alignment. Think of a seed planted in the soil. For weeks, nothing seems to happen. If you judged only by what your eyes could see, you might think nothing is changing. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Growth is unfolding. Then suddenly, one day the sprout breaks through. The bridge is like that. Each act of alignment is planting seeds in your reality. The sprout will appear, not because time finally delivered it, but because your identity nurtured it into existence. As you cross this bridge, remember the old self will not disappear overnight. Sometimes you will feel like you are moving forward, and other times like you are being pulled back. This is natural. The key is not to judge the process, but to keep choosing. Each moment is an invitation to embody the self you know you already are. So if today you feel fear, breathe into it. If today you feel doubt, soften around it. And then, even in the midst of those feelings, ask, what would my new self choose right now? Let that question guide you across the bridge, step by step, until one day you realize you are no longer walking between two shores. You are already living on the side you once dreamed of. The bridge is not about becoming someone else. It is about releasing the grip of who you no longer are, so that the self who already exists can rise to the surface. That self has always been here. They are waiting for you, not in the future, but in this moment, in every choice, in every breath. The bridge is faith. The bridge is alignment, and the bridge is yours to cross, right now. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale and exhale. Let everything we have explored settle into your heart. You began this journey believing that time was a barrier, that your dreams lived somewhere far away waiting for you to finally reach them. But now you see the truth. Time is not the wall that separates you from your desires. It is the illusion that keeps you believing in separation. Your future self is not waiting. They are already alive, already breathing, already here. Every moment you align with their energy, every time you choose their thoughts, their feelings, their actions, you dissolve the illusion of distance. You stop waiting and you begin living. And slowly, reality begins to mirror that choice, until one day you look around and realize you are standing inside the life you once only imagined. The old self will always try to whisper. It will remind you of the past. It will tempt you with doubt. It will beg you to stay in the familiar story. But you know now that those whispers are only echoes. They are not truth. The truth is that you are already whole, already enough, already living the reality you once believed was far away. All that is left is to choose it, again and again, until it becomes your natural state. And the beauty of this path is that you don't need to force anything. You don't need to push or struggle. You only need to remember. Remember that you are not moving through time. You are moving through alignment. Remember that the future is not out there, it is right here. Remember that the self you long to become is not a dream, it is a presence within you, waiting for your embrace. So let this be your invitation. Stop asking when it will happen, and start asking, who am I being right now? Stop measuring how far away your dreams are, and start embodying the self for whom those dreams are already natural. Let every breath, every step, every thought be a bridge into that reality, and as you live this truth, notice how life begins to respond. Notice how synchronicities appear, how doors open, how peace arises where fear once lived. This is not chance. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. This is the reflection of your choice to embody the self who has always been waiting inside you. Take another breath. Now, feel into your heart. Feel into the knowing that you are not waiting for the future, you are already living it. The illusion has fallen away. Time is not your master. You are free. Carry this with you, not just as an idea but as a way of being. And as you do, you will discover the most profound truth of all. You are not becoming, you already are.